Hi, and welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender for the 19th Judicial Circuit. I gotta say, our show is going to be probably the nearest and dearest one to my heart, and I've been doing this a long time because it's just such a great charity and such a great thing for the community, and it's been going on for so long, and the viewers now are wondering, what am I talking about? And I want to first welcome Carol Wyatt from WPSL 1390, right?
1590.
1590, I knew that. I was thinking of the phone number. And she is here, not talking about the radio station, although we're going to a little bit, about the WPSL Christmas Kids.
Yes,
So,
and you've been a big participant, done a show for years, and your staff.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just fabulous. So before we get into the Christmas Kids and what people can do to help and donate, toys, money, everything, let's start with you. Carol, you have been doing radio and broadcasting and TV for a long, long time. Why don't you give us a little bit? I know we used the whole show for your experience, but give us a little overview.
Well, Greg and I came here almost 30 years ago now, but each of us had spent about 20, 25 years already in television before we came here.
Okay.
So, you know, and
so for 55 years.
About 50. 55 for Greg, 50 for me.
Okay.
That's hard to say, you know, really. But we were in television news for about 20 years.
Right.
And Greg.
And where? Where was that?
We met in a newsroom in Tucson.
Okay.
Met and got married in the newsroom. And then went to San Diego. Then he got a job with this unknown, crazy idea of a 24-hour sports network in Connecticut. So he was one of the originals of ESPN.
I was going to say, yeah.
ESPN in 1979. And I was able to go back to Boston, and we worked back there for a while, and then came out to Los Angeles. And we're there for about 12 years.
Wow.
And, yeah, I worked mainly as a reporter, and loved it. But you kind of reach a time where what else are you going to do with your life? So Greg said, I've always wanted to buy a little radio station. And we found one in Port St. Lucie.
Wow. Okay, so you came here and bought the station. Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't know that part.
Oh, yeah. We came here we had bought WPSL, and we came on the holiday weekend between Christmas and New Year's, and we met the station. We met with some bankers here, did a little business plan, and then it was funded, and we moved here in. Greg came in March, I came in May, and all of a sudden it was ours.
Oh my gosh! So, and you've had the station ever since?
Yes.
For 30 plus years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how has, and we'll get to the Christmas Kids because that's our focus, but how have you seen? Let's start with journalism, and then we'll talk about radio. How have you seen it change? I mean, you know, don't hold back. Seriously.
Well, the change that was happening when Greg and I were still in it was speeding up. The cable news networks. When we first started, we were shooting film, waiting for it to get developed, and then putting it on the next newscast. So if something, you know, something was several hours away before it actually hit the air, and you had a little more time in the development. What the cable news networks did was make everything immediate. You know, suddenly you were doing live shots. It's like, okay, you're there, you're on the air.
Yeah.
I went down to cover a story in Mexico City, and they said, call us as soon as you land. Well, I'm just at the airport. You know?
Right.
You know, so, but you have to be ready to do something, and I think that took a lot of the carefulness about reporting, or it made people report in different ways. Where you grab anybody and talk with them. And then the cable networks, I think after we transitioned into radio, the cable networks then started taking on a political bent.
Yeah.
And personally, I think that was a bad idea.
Right.
For both the really successful ones and the ones who've struggled with it.
Right, right.
It kind of tarnished the whole concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and it's kind of where we are today. Yeah. No, I got it. Now, what about your? Has your radio station evolved?
Well.
Because
Yes.
you are not that. I know that, and I'll vouch for that. But how, just generally speaking, how has radio evolved?
We have live shows still. We have 3 stations now. We grew. There
Right.
was 1, then there
Right.
was 2, then we added 3. So we have WSTU as well, and then WJNX,
Right.
La Gigante in Spanish.
Right.
Which I was a language major in college, so I enjoy working with La Gigante. You know, I don't do any air work, but I enjoy working with the
Wow.
Spanish-speaking staff in La Gigante. But it's grown in that each station kind of has its own personality. And WSTU is geared toward Martin County,
Right.
County's heritage station.
Right, right.
And La Gigante certainly to the Spanish-speaking community. And WPSL, we've always thought it needs to be bigger than perhaps the star political national show. It
Right.
needs to have a local basis.
Which it does.
Strong, yes. So we've
Yes.
always had a live morning show and featured the morning show and our own personalities and our own news efforts. Although we do a partnership with Channel 5 a lot more now than, and they are very helpful, particularly in hurricanes, you know, and
Right,
the
right.
emergency situations. I mean,
Right.
that has worked well. But we've always emphasized the morning show and the personalities that are apart on local news, local events, and apart from any of the national talk shows that come later.
And people still listen to local radio.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
A lot, right? Okay.
Oh, sure. I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, I certainly believe in that.
No,
But we do.
Yes.
We do have strong listenership. We have shows that are our participation shows,
Right.
where you can call up and ask an orthopedic surgeon about, you know, what's happening in your knee. You know?
Right, right.
Yeah, and health food stores that take phone calls. So you have people who could participate in most of the local talk shows.
Which is great.
And that's something we have wanted.
Right.
The stations have grown also in that I tease Greg, he has every sport known that can be contracted for, he has on one of the 3 stations. So,
Good for him. Good
Yes,
for him. Okay, let's talk about the most wonderful charity at the most wonderful time of the year, the WPSL Christmas Kids. Tell us what it is and how long has it been in existence?
Well, it's kind of uniquely St. Lucie County. It started back in 1946, and I have to emphasize we were not around then.
Right.
But 1946, there was one radio station on the Treasure Coast, WIRA 1400.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful Indian River area, I am told. That's what it's good for.
You know, I didn't know that. Oh, my goodness. Okay, okay.
And there was a little girl who was very ill at the holidays, and there was an appeal given over the station, and people brought toys and gifts, and it kind of grew from that one situation and the response of the community to where the police departments were handing out toys, and service groups were getting involved,
Right.
and working with the radio station on that. So it grew over the years. It developed an affiliation with community services with the county.
Right, which it still has.
Yes, it
Right.
still has. And we read in the paper, we had just moved here, just bought WPSL, and we read in the paper this story about the Christmas Kids and that their station had been sold and changed formats and would probably not have time available for them, and they were looking at disbanding. So Greg and I looked at each other and said, well, okay, what's involved here? What is
A lot.
This? What is
A
this?
lot.
Yeah. So we called the program director over at WIRA, a gentleman named Ed Birchfield.
Oh, what? Okay.
And so we
And
talked
thus
with
it's-
him, and
wow.
he set up a meeting with the Christmas Kids Board. And we joke, we not only adopted the Christmas Kids, we also adopted or hired Ed Birchfield. He came
yeah.
over, he was with us for the next 16 years.
Right, right. And so you've been doing it for 16 years?
Well, since 1920, what it would be, about 28? Yeah, since 90, it would be 94, I think, was when, yeah.
Wow, so
They came
28
with us.
years.
Yes. Yeah, it was about a year
Wow.
after we came.
Okay. And what was the woman's name, Carol, that started it? What was, or that
Well,
kind of.
oh, wow. Okay, now Pauline Clutter was just
That was who I was
before.
thinking. Okay, yes.
she
And
was-
I forget the woman who started before her. But
there
Pauline
was another
involved.
lady known for hats. And
Yeah.
I'll blurt it out in the next 10 minutes. Or so.
Yeah. No, that's all right. I was just curious. I couldn't remember. But, okay, and tell us the basis of what it does.
Well, it has grown, but it's always been toys at the holidays.
Right.
So, and in a way that the Christmas kids have evolved, and I'm kind of proud of that. I think people would donate used games, which we kind of discovered were occasionally missing some pieces, but through no fault of anybody. But
Right,
just,
right. And that's as
maybe
disappointing as
donated.
not getting a toy at all.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. And some of the stuffed animals were kind of previously loved, and we kind of looked at this and said, okay, we have some really generous people who are donating money, so let's go to all new toys.
Right.
So that was one change we made. But there used to be a center where there would be the board members or volunteers that would actually sit there, during the day, and you could drop off toys.
Right.
So a lot of it was collected, and some of it was then paid for by donations as well.
Right.
They also had a really active bicycle program, and a gentleman whose name I'd have to reach for, but he particularly repaired bicycles.
Right.
That kind of got to be unwieldy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we found for two reasons. One, some bicycles should be left in the dumpster,
Yeah.
to be honest. And then secondly, you have a child that is picking up, is there with parents, and they're picking up a toy, and the child in front of them got a brand new bike with the ribbons and everything on it, and then they get a refurbished bike.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
So we kind of, the police departments were doing some of the bike refurbishing, the
Right.
sheriff's department, and then I think, of course, it was the police and so forth. So we kind of directed the bicycles to them, and we kept the toy concept.
Okay.
So it's 3 new toys each for each child who is signed up, and
And how do you sign up?
screened through community services, St. Lucie County Community Services.
Okay.
And
And what's the screening process? What's the criteria?
well, it's a little different this year. COVID changed everything.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
everybody used to come to the lobby of community services, and they had all their, whether it's their rent vouchers or their proof of residency in St. Lucie County and income and so forth. That is out the window after COVID.
Right.
Nobody does that. So they went to online, and then now this year, we've just been asking for proof of food stamp qualifications, knowing that they had to provide
All of that.
data.
Good. Oh, boy,
to
that's
be-
easy.
Yeah, to qualify for the food stamp program. So,
Well,
yes.
Would they have to download a picture, or how do they? What's the application? Do you know?
I'm not sure about a
'Cause-
picture, but they do have to have the card.
Okay.
Yeah, the food
And
stamp
the card and when they
Yeah,
apply,
right.
they have to have a picture of it or something. Okay.
Yeah, and then they're given a number.
Right.
And we then are given their family information. So it's this family has a 3-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl, and we will then prepare 3 what we call age-appropriate toys.
Okay.
For that family. And if they have a number, then they will have a family bag that'll be given to them. The pickup day this year is December 15th.
Okay.
Now, Community Services has always said, they want to use the family concept. It's not given from the Christmas kids. It's actually given in kind of an ugly black bag, to the parents.
Okay.
And they can know what their child is receiving.
Right.
And they can give it from the parents.
Right.
They can give it from Santa, however they would like.
Right.
And we've had a wonderful Walgreens manager who has donated all kinds of wrapping paper, so that they then get a couple of rolls of wrapping paper, and they can wrap it as they want to.
Oh, which is cool. And
Yeah.
now, what if it's 3 toys per qualifying family? Correct.
Well, 3 toys per child. So if they have 5 children, They'll get 15 toys. Yes.
Okay. I did not understand.
Yes, 3
Oh
toys
my
per
g-
child.
Wow. But if you only have one child, you can apply and you'll
yeah.
get 3 toys.
Sure.
Whoa. Okay.
And it was other strategies in this. We try to do something that is active, whether there's a soccer ball or there's a basketball or there's a football
Right, right.
in there. Try to do a game, like a board game, so that if there's more than one child in the family, there's some little family participation.
Wow. Okay. So what happens, and this happens with life builders sometimes, what if someone who is poor, who wants to qualify and get toys, does not have a computer?
Well, I've asked that.
Okay. No.
What I've told the community services is that there are a lot of the programs that people sign up for are now done online, and the libraries have computers you can go in
Okay.
and use.
Okay.
And
So-
that's a fairly well-known concept, yeah,
Okay.
to go to the library.
Okay, so if you don't have a computer, go to the library. You can sign
Mm-hmm.
up there and apply. Now, who makes the decision? Community Services?
Well, they're the ones who give us the list, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and if they qualify, i.e., they have the food stamp verification, everything's correct. Do they know they're going to get toys? You cap it, don't you?
Well, we do, but they'll only interview up to 500. I mean, we cap it
Okay.
at 500 each year.
Okay.
Just because we didn't used to have a cap, and one year it shot up to 1,800, and we took everything we had. So we said, okay, we capped it.
Wow.
Well, we capped it at 1,000, and then we ended up dividing the toy budget and putting the other budget in a diversified part of the Christmas Kids that we'll talk about.
Right, right. Okay. So, but when did this opportunity go live for people to apply?
It was a little early this year. It
Okay.
was in mid-October.
Okay.
And
So
yeah,
have you tapped out?
not quite yet.
Okay.
no. But
So people that are watching need to know.
it'll be this Friday, I think, is that they're only going to take, yeah.
Okay.
So it'll possibly, but
Well, it could end today if you've got 500.
yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't done it yet and you need, do it now.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about what we talked about before the show, which is a real cool variant, if you will, on the Christmas Kids, which are helping children with back-to-school clothing, correct?
I like to say we've evolved,
Right,
but we've
right.
also diversified, and it's part of the spirit of giving. So
Right.
it still falls under the Christmas Kids. But the director of community services, Diana Waslowski, called us in about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and said, toys are nice. We'll keep working with you on toys, but the need we see is for back-to-school clothing.
Right.
Not, a lot of people are doing supplies.
Right.
But clothing.
Yep.
And she said, can you cut your toy budget in half
Whoa.
and put half of that into back to school clothes? And we kind of asked some of the people who make nice big donations to the Christmas
Right.
Kids each year, and they all said, yes, we like that. We like that idea.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we've done. And
So
it's-
your budget is cut in half.
That's right.
Half, okay.
Instead of 1,000 children, we're now, registering 500 for toys.
Okay.
Now we take that same amount of money, and we spend a little more per child. We spend about 3 times more per child on clothing than for toys.
Okay.
But the way it works for people who are in line for the back to school clothes, we give them a budget of $100 per child. We meet them at a large store in town,
yeah.
and they know what the child needs. They know what size they are. Just go pick out up to $100, and then we'll meet you at the checkout. Has to be clothing. It can be underwear, it can be shoes, it can be uniforms, whatever.
Right.
As long as it's clothing. And
Well, now, Carol, how in the world do you do that? You have enough volunteers?
we do have volunteers, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, and we're digressing a minute, but if someone wants to volunteer to either help with the Christmas kids part of it, either stuffing the black ugly bags or whatever, or doing anything. Who do they call? Community services or
Actually, call us. Call us at the radio station. You call me.
Which is
340-1590.
Yeah, 1590. Okay. And say you want to help or donate or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about with the clothing? Same thing?
We probably have a smaller number of people who are working on that, and we have some really dedicated board members who have gone out not only on the toy shopping trips, but also with the clothing. And that actually is, it has been about 100 children that we were able to serve the last couple of summers. And we grouped them either in Port St. Lucie at the Port St. Lucie Walmarts or in Fort Pierce. And probably up to about 10 children at each trip.
Oh, I was going to say, okay, so it's not just
mass.
okay.
No,
You group them up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that way it's manageable. Yeah, it's manageable. And and then our volunteers are there to handle the payment and just make sure it all goes smoothly.
Well, and I found this out, with Life Builders. The donors, whether it be organizations or individuals or whatever, they want to know that you're not just saying, oh, you need toys for, or rather clothes for little Johnny's school next year. Here's $100, and nobody. We don't do that, and I know you don't do that.
No, we take a look in the cart, and it's shoes, underwear, clothing,
and you pay for it, right?
That we'll pay for.
And not that you don't want to look at society as John, with a jaundiced eye and say, oh, well, they go buy cigarettes and booze but that could happen. So everybody needs to know that if they donate either to the Christmas Kids program or to the Back to School clothing drive, it's going to go to that.
Yes. And the other thing that we did last year, and we will continue doing this year, is work with the school district, St. Lucie County Schools. There is a lady who is the liaison, and we tend to call it for homeless children, but she was telling me there is a name of a federal law that protects the right of a child to continue in education even after they may have lost their home. The McKinney-Vento is what she refers to the program.
Wow.
That child has the right to attend the same school. Well, has the right to attend school.
Okay.
Yeah, to attend school.
Even though they're homeless.
Even though they don't have a fixed, regular, adequate home, nighttime
address.
Home. Yeah.
Okay.
But the ability to still attend even the school that they went to last before they lost their home.
Wow.
But it sets up. I mean, it sets up all kinds of provisions. But we were able to work with this liaison. She gave us a name of 100 children who had signed. The parents had signed them up for the back-to-school clothing. So again, to your point of knowing that they need help.
Right.
Yes. I think we're pretty confident of that.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, they're screened. They're all of that, and someone is going to go with them to get them clothes. And we talked about it earlier. I mean, I remember, that first day of school, you want a nice, clean, crisp shirt to put on, Even if you're going to wash it every single day and wear it the whole year, it's that first day of school that you want to feel, pretty and brand new, so to speak. But
we said it's important for a 6-year-old to, and be involved in the joy at the holidays and have presents and toys and so forth. But it's also important for a 6-year-old to feel good about going to school.
Good about themselves.
Yes.
I mean, goodness. We're almost out of time. I know it just goes so fast, but again, if someone and let's go back for a moment because I don't know if everyone watching knows the history, before for 28 years, you all were going to businesses within the community and going out and taping shows. But now, post-COVID and pre-COVID and during COVID, well, with masks on, I might add, you are taping in your studio, and there's a live show with the people that host the Christmas Kids boxes and raise money and get toys, and then you have them on the air for what weeks are those?
It starts right after Thanksgiving, and then it'll go through, I think, the 14th of December, because we do the toy giveaway on the 15th.
Okay.
But each business sponsors a show, and they make a minimum donation to the Christmas Kids.
Right.
And then they come on the show, and they can talk about, their product, if they want to talk about their store or whatever.
Right.
But they also, talk about their involvement in the community.
Right.
And, we also have groups from St. Lucie County Schools. Now, what we've had to do, COVID and after, is we have some recordings of, the choral groups,
bands,
orchestras, yes. But it features the talent of the students of St. Lucie County Schools.
Well, I remember, every year it was so exciting because the kids would show up by bus and sing I mean, we always said, it's the start of Christmas.
And your staff baked cookies.
They loved it. I mean, what better to see small children singing Christmas carols to get in the spirit of Christmas.
That's what we miss, is all the Christmas cookies.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and we've got a minute and a half, basically. Give me, because you do this to me when I'm on your show. Give me one of the sweetest, best memories of those 28 years doing this wonderful work that you and Greg do.
I don't know about sweetest, but I think when the parents come, they bring usually the small children, the toddlers.
Right.
And we try to have some stuffed animals for them. And so you look at the eyes,
Right.
Like, this is the toy. This is what they get the toys, and then we'll give them the stuffed animal, and it's just that's where you see the joy of why you're doing it.
Right. And just being there and watching the children. I mean, that's got to be the most rewarding thing.
It is.
And the parents have to be grateful too.
Yes.
I mean, talk about a burden lifted, and I mean, because that's a tough time for people who are poor. Okay, well, the best of luck. Give us the number real quick again that someone can call if they want to donate.
If they want to donate or volunteer, it's 772-340-1590.
And that's WPSL 1590.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Carol, and I'll see you soon.
You will, yes.
Okay.
Do a show again. Thank you.
Okay, great.